The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a very special members-only workshop. We're here to discuss the new improved Investors Observer and all the changes we've made over the last week. If you have questions at any point, go ahead and just put them in the question box whenever. We have people standing by to answer some of them by text, and then there will be plenty of time for Q&A at the end of the presentation as well. With that said, we got a little agenda here. We're going to go through, right, where's all your stuff? The option stuff, featured personalized trades, portfolios, investors keyhole, trade screener. We're going to talk about what's new. We got more stock tools. And then also, where do you find all the new cool stuff? And then, like I said, questions will be at the end. So, but yeah, there's no reason to hold them to the end. You can go ahead and put them in ahead of time if you want. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so site navigation is this simple bar across the top of the site. I will be doing an on-site tour towards the end, so you don't have to get it all from here. But under stocks, you'll find the stock dashboard. That's where you'll find the top 5 lists of stocks, right? So our top stocks, top 5 stocks after earnings, those things that you're used to seeing on the old site. Also, we have a new stock screener that I'll be talking about when we do that site tour. Those things are there on the stock page. Under options, that's where you'll find the options dashboard. We have featured and personalized trades live there. An overview of the portfolios. There's an options news feed. That's where you'll find the IK and portfolio trades, as well as the morning update, and some other news items that pertain to options as well. And then also there are separate pages for the portfolios to see a more in-depth view, and the option trade screener that you should all be familiar with. We have a new news page now. There is a column of featured trades that is the mostly the stuff that we produce in-house here. It's where you can find the week in review, market week ahead, some of our other longer articles. We also have a entire page or sort of stream for market updates. We have a new partner, MT Newswire, where we're getting a lot of news now. Market updates will include updates on the broader market a couple times a day, as well as updates for individual sectors. There's a whole news feed for the top stocks if you just want to look at that. So if you want to see what's the news on the most searched stocks on Investors Observer, we've got that feed available. And then feeds for insider activity, both buying and selling, analyst actions, a ton of upgrades, downgrades, reiterates, target price changes, a whole feed for that kind of stuff. And then, all of the Investors Observer news that you are used to, morning updates, stocks to watch, investors keyhole, and some stock updates and things like that as well. And then finally, over here, this little person is account settings. That's where you can, change the name on your account, email address, opt into or out of emails for all of the things. Some of you just got upgraded from, say, Trade Idea Generator to the full Elite package. Trade Idea Generator doesn't really come with a lot of emails. The full Elite package, as I'm sure you've probably noticed, comes with a lot of emails. You can turn those off. We have a lot of granularity in the control there. You can do that under messaging settings. It's also where you can edit your subscription or change your credit card should that be necessary. All right, so new features. We have improved the technical scores. I think my slides are out of order. Nope, okay. We've improved the technical scores. So, the short-term technical and long-term technical score in terms of, the stock reports. The first version we felt really tended to score things that were too extended in either direction, a little too strongly. So we tried to rein that in a little bit. We also added more scores, and that's really about sort of getting additional granularity for different kinds of investors. There's not one kind of investor, so it just stands to reason there shouldn't be one kind of stock score or one metric for buying stocks. So we added valuation scores and analyst rating scores for the more fundamental-minded investors, and then for the more technical-focused trader, we have a new sentiment score. And we also have lots of ways to screen for stocks. We didn't actually have a stock screener before. People, that was one of the biggest requests when we launched our stock product was, well, how do I screen through these instead of just getting the top 5? We've done that. And it's a full-fledged stock screener. It has all of the metrics you would normally find in a stock screener, price, PE ratio, market cap, a whole bunch of other ones. And you can also screen for all of our stock scores. You can filter by sector and industry. You can also search for how stocks compare to their peers. So if you want to see only stocks that are in the top, stocks that are at the top of their industry, we've got ways for you to do that also. And then, like I said, we've partnered with MT Newswire, so now we have a news feed. A market is basically just a big system for turning information into prices. So we do think the news feed is pretty important as far as that goes. And then, so some of those news feeds are, like I said earlier, we got top stocks, news from all the top 5 lists, a special feed with just the insider activity information, and then that analyst actions feed is pretty impressive. It's got all kinds of stuff. Right, it's not just upgrades and downgrades. It's got reiterates and price target changes and things like that as well. All right, so the new and improved stock scores, just a little bit about the stock scores generally. Most of the scores, with the exception of the sentiment score, are percentile ranked. So you'll see from 0 to 100. 100 is the top, 0 is the bottom. Most things obviously fall somewhere in the middle. Right, so what percentile ranking means is something that scores an 85 has a higher score than 85% of stocks. And we did that because it's pretty easy to understand. It's also pretty easy to compare. You can look and say, okay, well, this stock is, good on this metric and bad on this metric, as opposed to having, things that don't line up at all. And it also means you don't need to adjust for market conditions or economic cycle, like with some other indicators, right? I mean, PE ratio, the standard was 15% is, anything over 15% is way overvalued at some point, and the whole S&P trades north of 20 at this point. So you don't have to try to adjust for, well, what's a good score in this market, right? You just get what's a good score in this market is just baked into percentile ranking all the stocks that we have the data for to make that score. And the reason sentiment is different is over a very short period of time, the entire market sentiment can change. And so a high score in a bad period can be more misleading than it is with some of the fundamental stuff or some of the other longer term scores. And sentiment also can be superseded by new information, right? So the market may really like a stock, and then, your product starts making people sick and the market stops liking your stock in a hurry. So the sentiment score it's not necessarily predictive in that way because new information always can come out. And we also have added a total market-wide sentiment indicator on the options dashboard page. All right, so that's the slides that I have, and then it is on to the website. All right, so we'll start here on the stock dashboard. We still have the watch list. Those of you who created watch lists on the old site should still be there. We have our top 5 overall stocks. You can see the most searched stocks here. And then down here we have our stock screener. You can hit start over at any point to refresh what you're looking at. The columns are sortable, right? So if you want to see the highest volume or say highest market capitalization, you can do that. You can add columns. So if you wanted to say, see what the average recommendation was, right, you can do that. This column pops up here and it's also sortable. You can also, if you just check the box, it will add the column. You don't have to fill values in, but if you want to, you can. This works just like our option screener where you don't have to put in a minimum and a maximum. Let's say you only want to see things that are rated buy or above. You can just put buy in the minimum. And there it goes. So now you should have strong buy at the top and just buy at the bottom there. So that's the stock screener. There are lots of columns here that you can add or sort by. The sectors, and then you can break down and get pretty granular in terms of seeing individual industries. You can also save a filter here, and if you do that, they will show up under this list here. The piece that I forgot by not looking at my notes like I should is we have this search box up at the top of the page. If you just want to see what's going on with the stock today, put a ticker in there and it will take you to the page for that stock. We've got all the scores. Watch list is still over here. News on the side, the same chart as before. Data box and the analyst projection that you should be familiar with from the other site. And then we have the option stuff over here also. It's all on one page now. I think we had 3 different individual stock pages depending on which search box you used on the old sites. We've consolidated it all into one page with a couple of tabs. The out of the money calculator is still here. This is a pretty handy tool. So let's say you had Microsoft at 140, which was what, like 2 weeks ago, and you'd like to find a call to sell that will help you get back to profitability. Put in your cost basis, position repair, and it says, okay, sell the January 145 for 250, and it'll give you new cost basis, profit if it's assigned, days to expiration, how likely that call is to be assigned. So that's all of that. Let me go back to the analysis page, because in addition to these overall scores, we also have details about the scores. So Microsoft gets a 71% overall. That ranks it better than 71% of stocks across the entire stock market, better than 92% of stocks in technology, and 97% of stocks in the software infrastructure industry. And then down here, you can see where the software industry comes in. So it stands to reason if it gets a 71 overall, but is a 92 in the industry's not doing super hot, or the sector's not doing super hot. So, right, technology is 8 out of the 11 sectors and 115th out of the 148 industries. So you can see that for all the, we have that for all the things, or if you just want to see them all at once, you can hit that button down here, show details, hide details, to toggle that on and off. So that's that. All right, one other piece, because I got out of order, is on these top stocks lists, if you go to the sector and industry, you can see the top for a sector or industry. So here's the top 5 for financial exchanges. So these are the previous page. These are the top sectors by overall score. These are the top industries by overall score. And then here are the components of that industry that have the top overall score. Here's news on those components. And if you want to see, all right, sure, this looks like a good industry, let me see everything in there, just hit screen all financial exchanges and it'll take you back to the screener. And so here are all the financial exchanges that have a US listed equity that we follow. All right, so onto the options page, the options dashboard. We've got an overview of the option portfolios here. The personalized trades and featured trades are over here. You can change this if you want. You want to see balanced vertical spreads. There you go. We made that a little bit easier to navigate instead of having to go into your settings and change and then come back every time. And then we have this news feed here, so you can see it's got news about the stocks in the portfolios. So here's an analyst note from us. Here is an upgrade on a stock in a portfolio. Right, that's what these are. And then if you want to see the morning update, just click morning update. You can see that here. It's the same morning update as always. And the investors keyhole trades are also in a feed here as well. Here is that overall market sentiment indicator we were talking about a couple seconds ago. It's here. It updates every morning. All right, and then if you want to see the actual details of the portfolios, you can click View Portfolios. There's also a link directly here. And you see these are the current open positions. We're working on getting a closed trade page back up. We should have that fairly soon. If you want to see the details of one of these, you can hit Trade Details. It shows this is our current open position. This is the ledger, so this will be a history of everything we've done. And then the analyst notes list out down here, and you can click the headline to open the full note. And again, this news feed is just all the news, that anything that gets published on our site that covers the stocks in the portfolio will show up in this feed here. So that includes, again, notes from us or also news about the stocks. And the option screener is, again, pretty much as it was before. We didn't make a lot of changes here. Now, if you want it covered calls, you hit covered calls. All right, and then, you set minimum or maximum expirations, set some profit numbers. Let's say we want 15. For covered calls, let's not do anything over 75 bucks. Minimum stock score of 60 and key rating of 4. And there's 33 of those. And then again, you can sort here if you want to sort by just bring the 5 keys to the top. You can do that. And then you can, once you've sorted by one thing, you can hold the shift key to sort by another one. So if you wanted to sort by, say, overall score inside of the 5 stars. Oh, there you go. So that's how that works. You can see the details here. Or click the link here to go through to the stock page that we just looked at. All right, and then the news page. So here's the market news. We've got updates from the folks at MT Newswire. They have a lot of Canadian coverage in addition to the US. And you can see here we've got the sector updates in addition to the broad market updates. So energy, technology. You just click on the headline for one of those and read the rest of it there. And then, list for the top stocks. So here's news on our best overall stocks. Anything that has one of those stocks tagged in it will show up here. Insider activity, these are really cool because they don't just look at individual transactions. Right, so here you can see here's a transaction, but also, right, they actually track trends and things like that, which is something that we haven't been able to do in the, with the work we do for the Investors Keyhole trades. And then they have this link. It doesn't hyperlink, but if you want to see the actual, Form 4 filed at the SEC, that link is at the bottom of all these insider trends as well. Analyst actions, all will give you everything. So, right, maintains and outperform. That's not an upgrade or a downgrade. That's right, literally maintains, keeping the rating the same. If you want to see just the upgrades, you can go here. We are working to get pretty much everything faster, though, especially some of these news things load a little bit slowly. We're working to get those fixed. And then, obviously, if you want to see just the downgrades, that's under downgrades. And then IO News is all the stuff that we publish. So the all feed will have everything we publish. Morning update obviously will be just the morning updates. Stocks to watch, we'll have the weekly stocks to watch. Investors Keyhole trades. And then stock updates are little stories that we push out during the day about essentially about stocks that we think are of interest, highlighting one or more of the individual stock scores. All right. We also have added a dark mode. This is a hot new thing in internets these days. The dark mode, so you can toggle that on and off here. Featured news is over here. The recording of this webinar, for example, will show up under featured news. It's also where Market Week Ahead, the Week in Review, and some other stuff we write show up in this featured news column. Turn that dark mode back off. And then this guy, like I said earlier, is the account management page. So you can go here and do things, set some email preferences. If you want to get some of the investors keyhole emails, but not all of them, you can do that. Make sure to hit the save button down here. You can also edit your subscription, credit card, things like that. And as always, we have the help button on every page. That goes straight through to us, and we'll get those answered pretty quickly. All right, so that is the whole website. We added a lot of stuff, but didn't really, tried to actually make it simpler and easier to find things. A lot of upgrades tend to make things hard to find. We really tried to stay away from that as much as possible. All right, so let's get to questions. All right, so I have a question from Daniel who says, do old saved filters still work? Daniel, we're working on that. There were some changes that I don't think anybody was entirely aware what the effects would be. We have all of the sample filters from before should work, and we're working to get the other ones functional as well. It really sort of seems to depend on what the parameters were in there. I think some of the ones that had like an expiration date may not be working, but you can certainly recreate those if you need to and save them. And then they'll work again. Or if there's a particular filter you have that you're having trouble with and you can't figure out why, send us a note and we'll try to get that straight for you. All right, so Jeffrey had a question about volume on options. Yeah, we don't actually have that available because it's a trade screener and not an individual option screener. We don't really worry about volume on individual options. If you're day trading options or something where you want to get in and out real fast and are concerned about the spread, that's a concern. With the kind of trades that we have in our screener, it's much less of a concern. Okay, well, I'm waiting for more questions to come in. As always, this session is being recorded, and we'll put a copy of the slides and a video up on the site tomorrow and send everybody an email so you can get to it. We know this is new and a change for everybody, so please don't be shy about sending us an email or giving us a call during East Coast business hours. If you have questions about, I can't find my thing, that's totally fine. We moved all the things around. It's totally fine. We're happy to answer that. Any other problems you have, let us know. Questions, concerns, we're happy to take all of those. We do have a couple of other things that we're hoping to push out soon that will be, sort of further additions to what we have here, but yeah, we're really excited about all of this. All right, so David asks, how often is the option screener updated? David, is still updated once a day. So overnight is when we update that, based on, obviously the previous day's close. Robert, you can change subscriptions on the subscription page. I don't actually have an active subscription because I have a test account, so I can't actually demonstrate that. But if you wanted to give us a call, I'm sure somebody could walk you through it and help you with that if necessary. Yeah, in addition to specific questions, we're happy to hear what you think about the changes. Love it, hate it, let us know. We're happy to take all of that under advisement. Like this is, yeah, obviously we're crunching a lot of data here in terms of stocks and options and stuff, and we user feedback is also another kind of data that we try to gather as much as we can. That's a lot of the changes we made here came from data we gathered from users, both data and sort of anecdotes. So yeah, any feedback you have, we're happy to hear it and have it. Okay, well, if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Look out for that email tomorrow with the recording of this and the slides. And yeah, don't be shy about letting us know how you feel about it. And also, right, we just finished a new project or a big project. So if you have suggestions or requests, we're happy to have those also. So thank you very much for coming, and yeah, don't be shy about getting in touch. Thank you.